Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Today is the it's morning show, crypto morning show. Going to be 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. What's up, everybody in the chat? All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Yesterday we had a lot of problems on the show. Really sorry about that. Fortunately, it's just an issue that just comes up every once in a while and caused me to shut down early. All right, guys, here we are on CoinGecko. 350 trillion, almost on 3.5 trillion. Almost there on the nose. 3.503. 24-hour volume, 182.566 billion. Bitcoin dominance, 87.5%, dropping a hair, I believe. And ETH down a hair as well, 11.6%. I'm going to look at some of these trending coins and, what a trending coin. 3.5 trillion. Here's a visualization for you over the last 24 hours. And this is the 24-hour volume. Okay. Trending coins, we got Fyro, we looked at the other day, Zcash, we know what it is. And then, of course, XRP. Everybody knows XRP. Top gainers, you got Telcoin, Alchemix, and Junction, which is not the one it was this morning. This morning it was Alchemix Finance. So this is their platform. Let's go back a little bit. It's self-repaying loans without liquidations. Pretty interesting stuff. But it's not trending anymore, so we're not going to cover it. Also, Aerodrome was trending. Aerodrome was trending earlier. Also, swap deposits take to the sky. This is a Coinbase. It's a base layer project. You can trade Ethereum or the base doesn't have a token. So I don't know what I was going to say there. You can trade on the base network or the ETH network here. It's pretty cool. It's done at 116, I think it was. Let's see. Golly, it's up from its all-time high, or forever. It's up 1,456%. It's coming in at number 116. Had two big run-ups and then pullbacks. Now it looks like maybe it's getting ready for another big run-up. At least back to $1 or $1.50 or so, at least. As if we still are having a bull market. Someone said Velodrome and them merged. That's interesting. Arrow and Velodrome to merge, that would be interesting, definitely. But I don't have news on that. And we also had this coin, MB, Mind Blue, trending. That's a scary chart. I don't like a chart that looks like that. Any kind of chart that looks robotic like that, I stay away from. Down, up, 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 down. No, there's no wave to it. You want to see waves. Introducing MB, not just a token, the foundation of the intelligent economy. This is for AI agents, or for the humans running AI agents, what this is. Here's Telcoin. Telcoin pumping today, pretty good. What is Telcoin? Glad you asked. It's on the Ethereum chain. Also on Base, Polygon, Arbitrum. Building the Internet of Money. Telcoin is revolutionizing global debt by uniting blockchain technology, digital banking, and telecommunications. wants to be kind of like a all-in-one app for finance. So there you go. This is Telcoin. All right. Okay, here we go. Going down to Bitcoin. Bitcoin coming in at $101,029. Wow. Down 1.7% in the last hour. Oh, I have a short or a long open. I got my long open on Phemex. You guys want to trade Phemex? Got down below in the description. Forgot to put it on Twitter today. My bad. My trade's up $729. It looked to me like it came and swept the price and is going to go back up. So that's why I'm in a long. I hit it down here near the bottom. So Bitcoin down the last hour, but not the last 5 minutes. Ethereum 33.86, XRP 243. So had some good news lately. BNB at 957, Solana 152. Tron, Doge, and Cardano. You can see them all right there. So let's see. Our last hour, Zcash is up the most. Canton Coin right behind it. Last 24 hours, Zcash, Quant, WL5, XRP, Caspa. All with modest gains. Modest gains. For the week, we've got Filecoin, Uniswap, WorldFi. We could call it Wolfie. Wolfie. I don't know if we get anything special for coming up with a nickname, but it might be a good one. Near Protocol coming up next, 2.1%, or I'm sorry, 27% for the week. Proven Ends, Blockchain, Render having a great week, bouncing back, but still barely in the top 100. That's something to watch. I mean, being in the top 100 is a big deal. And when you lose that, you don't get nearly as many eyes because we scroll down through all these each day. Each day, all the projects on here, they've got a good chance of being in either one of the biggest gainers or losers, and that provides publicity, for these projects. Canton Coin hasn't been around a week. That's why it's up at the top. ICP now down for the last 7 days. BitTens are down. Zcash down. World Trump Token down. All of them are down. So there you go. This is Bitcoin on the hourly chart here. Take this off. So it's probably going to come back up to this VWAP here. We're spending some time down. I don't think it's going to bottom under or go under 100K today. We'll see. Maybe it does. I don't think so. No. There we go. A lot of lines right here. And what happens? We dump down. All right, moving on. The house is reopened. Government is working again. So I thought this would be a big catalyst for Bitcoin, but it hasn't proven that at all so far. Which, I mean, we have to start considering maybe we are going to see the same thing we always see. Maybe where Bitcoin goes down for the next year. We'll see. Trump signs bill to reopen U.S. government as Congress suddenly ramps up crypto work. House of Representatives voted in favor of a months-long funding measure late Wednesday. Trump signed a short-term funding bill to end the 42-day shutdown. Senate passed the funding measure after Democrats and Republicans compromised on key demands. The government restart allows federal regulators to resume work on crypto and other financial regulations. Telcoin was listed on Uphold. Is that why it went up, really, getting listed on Uphold? I don't know about that. Government restart allows federal regulators to resume crypto work. The government looks set to remain shut down for the foreseeable future before a group of Democrats and the majority of Senate Republicans vote in favor of the roughly 3-month funding measure until January 2026. Giving out their key demands to end the shutdown, but forcing a failed vote on Affordable Care Act subsidies. The lengthy shutdown slowed the U.S. government's progress on crypto, but legislators have signaled efforts to continue working on legislation affecting crypto. My vote was 222 to 209, with 6 Democrats voting in favor of the measure. Just this week, the Senate Agricultural Committee published an initial draft bill. They're part of key market structure legislation that would define the Commodities Futures Trading Commission's role in overseeing crypto spot markets, as well as confirmation hearing for CFTC Commissioner Mike Selig. The restart also let federal regulators resume their work around crypto in other areas, including the SEC and CFTC, both of which saw staff furloughed during the shutdown. While a group of companies filing to list and trade shares of new exchange-traded funds began using a procedural workaround to launch projects without needing an explicit SEC approval, the restart will speed the way for approvals of other public listings and similar products. Other federal agencies like the IRS or Office of the Comptroller of the Currency can similarly resume ongoing efforts to conduct rulemaking and analyze feedback such as public responses to rulemaking tied to the Genius Act. So there you go. But the thing is, Bitcoin is lagging behind. Bitcoin traded flat over the last 24 hours, even as U.S. equities surged to new all-time highs. Dow Jones Industrial Average hit a fresh record on Wednesday amid optimism the record-long shutdown could end with a late-night vote in Washington. At the time of writing, Bitcoin is holding steady around 103. Right now it's at 101. While Ether has climbed more than 3% in the past day, 3,500, but is down also. Sky emphasized that Bitcoin's correlation with the U.S. equity markets remains high, but it trades with a bear skew, reacting more to pain than to optimism. He noted that Bitcoin continues to move in line with U.S. equity indices, though its reactions have become increasingly asymmetric. He said Bitcoin still moves with equities. The correlation stays high, but Bitcoin reacts more to NASDAQ losses than gains. Think of Bitcoin as Ethereum compared to the Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes way up, Ethereum moves a little bit. But when it goes down a little, Ethereum goes down a lot. That's kind of what they're saying. Bitcoin is acting like this when compared to the NASDAQ. Bitcoin's performance skew has been structurally negative in 2025. Bitcoin falls harder on equity days down and it rises on up days. Pattern last seen in the 2022 bear markets. It's just so hard for me to believe that with as much institutional pressure that's on Bitcoin now, that it could have a huge drawdown. I just don't see it. I mean, do you know how many of these people will be beating each other over the head if they can get Bitcoin below $70,000 again? And I think that's going to make it not go that low. On Wall Street, investors were buoyed by the end of the 42-day government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. Trump signed a short-term funding bill late last night, yada, yada, yada. Market rally on Wednesday was led by a rebound in tech stock. Though volatility persisted. NVIDIA shares steadied after SoftBank's stake sale. Meanwhile, crypto legislation remains on the U.S. policy agenda. The Senate Agricultural Committee this week published a draft outlining the commodities futures and trading expanded oversight of spot markets. Lawmakers also scheduled a confirmed hearing for Mike Seelig, President Trump's nominee, to head the commission, signaling continued progress on long-delayed crypto markets. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat there, sir. What if anyone just leaves the market? Would that make the whales happy? No, I don't think so. The whales, they don't want you to leave the market. They want to squeeze you for every drop of lemon juice in your lemon. Okay. Bitcoin ETFs have their best day in over a month, but Bitcoin's price is still in choppy waters. Get a live check on Bitcoin here. 100,869. Bitcoin ETFs posted their biggest inflows since 7th of October on Tuesday, with the funds registering $524 million in inflows. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust took the lion's share with $224.22 million in inflows. Bitcoin had been trading in the $102,000 to $105,000 range. That's inaccurate now. With October 6th, all-time high, as traders await the House vote on ending the government shutdown. It already happened. They opened a government. Timothy Messier, head of research at Blockhead Research Network, said that whale Bitcoin ETF inflows are encouraging. The longer pattern shows cautious episodic demand rather than a sustained bid. We need to get above 108,000 to break this downtrend. Real test will be the FOMC's interest rate decision on December 10th, but it remains likely the news will be positive, which could set the stage for a Santa rally in crypto and other risk assets. Meanwhile, TD Cowen analysts set a base camp assumption of Bitcoin hitting 141,277 by December 25, with an upside scenario of 160,000, much bleaker scenario to 60,000. There's no way it's going to go to 60,000. I just cannot see it. In every other bear market, I said, okay, I can see it. But this one, it just does not seem, we're in a bearish period here in the market. I don't think we're in a bear market. 61% of institutions plan crypto allocation into Q4. So regardless, everybody's still thinking they're increasing their holdings. Institutional investors are increasing cryptocurrency allocation through year end, while anticipating momentum will fade in 2026. The survey found 61% of respondents plan to raise digital asset investments, with 38% targeting additions in the fourth quarter. Diversification places speculation as the primary investment rationale, marking crypto's evolution into a recognized portfolio component. The report surveyed over 1,000.
Use ChatGPT to answer that. You can
No, shut up. I don't know what I said there. Made it think I'm sucking it. That was my phone. Active managed strategies dominate institutional approaches at 42%, followed by high index exposure at 39%. Demand for crypto ETFs beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum surged, with over 80% of respondents seeking broader exposure. About 70% would increase allocations if staking were enabled, particularly for Solana and multi-asset products. U.S. spot Solana ETFs logged over $200 million in net inflows during their first week. Wow. Interest in tokenized real-world assets jumped from 6% to 26% year over year, reflecting growing confidence in regulated on-chain products, including tokenized bonds and funds. Sentiment turns neutral to bearish beyond 2025 as investors anticipate cooling momentum by mid-2026 when rate cuts plateau and macro tailwinds diminish. About 91% of high net worth respondents view crypto as essential for long-term wealth preservation. Around 81% consider Bitcoin a viable treasury recovery asset, while 70% believe holding cash instead of Bitcoin carries significant opportunity cost over 5 years. Lead author Lucas Schweiger noted discipline has tempered exuberance without eliminating conviction. Investors are better positioned for the next cycle while preparing for slowdowns once short-term catalysts dissipate. BlackRock crypto ambitions rest on Ether. Ethereum price prediction and ETH news. Ethereum, or as the natives call it, but no one who's a crypto native calls it this. The altcoin king. No one has ever said this in the history of humanity. No one has ever gone, yes, Ethereum, the altcoin king. No one says that. So let's get that out of the way first. It's like I live in Atlanta. Nobody says Atlanta. People in San Francisco, nobody says San Fran. So when you say stuff like this, you just look dumb. The altcoin king has a lot going for it, making its future price prediction fairly linear. And BlackRock ex-CEO Joseph Chalom seems to agree. In a recent interview, Chalom said, Ethereum has the majority of stable coins, tokenized assets, and high-quality smart contract activity. If you're going to digitize finance, you need a chain institutions can trust, and it's Ethereum. Now, I do agree with that. And as Chalom puts it, it is a productive asset. Unlike BTC, which sits in investment portfolios, either users can stake their coins and earn about 3% per year. Even now, as Shardlink's co-CEO, which is a digital asset firm, I think, for Ethereum, Chalom has put the money where his mouth is. His company owns over $3 billion in ETH, and nearly all of it is staked. Moreover, with partnerships in play with Consensus, Linea, and EigenLayer, the company is exploring restaking, which is basically earning more yield while keeping its ETH safe with custodians. Chalom does not think of ETH as a speculative tech. Instead, he sees it as a base for the next wave of digital finance to jump off of. Over time, he said, we won't call it DeFi or TradFi. We'll just call it finance. And Ethereum will be the infrastructure underneath. Call it TradeFi. Shardlink is one of the many digital asset treasury companies holding a large amount of ETH, but according to Chalom, most of these companies won't be able to grow successfully. He believes that without enough trading activity, solid financials, and in-house teams to manage staking investments, many of them will fall short. What is Ethereum at right now? $3,330. Big red candles. That's what Ethereum's known for. Big red candles. Is this Bitcoin bull turning bearish on crypto? Who are we talking about? Talking about Cathie Wood. Cathie Wood, founder and CEO of ARK Investment Management, has been one of Bitcoin's most vocal and influential advocates for years. Through her firm's research reports, public appearances, and exchange-traded fund filings, she's consistently painted Bitcoin as a revolutionary asset class, one that could disrupt traditional finance, serve as digital gold, and even become a global reserve currency. Her bullishness is rooted in fundamentals. Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins, its decentralization, and its growing integration into payment rails and balance sheets of corporations and governments. ARK's annual Big Ideas reports have long featured aggressive price models factoring in over growth, having cycles, and adoption curve. Her original base case was a modest 1.5 million by 2030 in the bull scenario, premised on Bitcoin capturing 5% of institutional portfolios and displacing a portion of gold's $12 trillion market cap. That target, while ambitious, wasn't the most outlandish in crypto circles. Analysts like Tim Draper and firms such as Van Eck have floated $3 million to $10 million forecasts, citing hyper adoption in emerging markets, sovereign wealth funds. Wood, however, grounded her view in data-driven scenarios, emphasizing Bitcoin's scarcity and security over speculative hype. Even during the 2022 bear market, when Bitcoin fell below 20,000, Wood doubled down, urging investors to view downturns as accumulation opportunities. Said El Salvador, making Bitcoin legal tender, and treasury strategy as proof of institutional momentum. Last week, in a surprising update to ARK's 2030 outlook, Wood lowered the bull case target for Bitcoin from 1.5 million to 1.2 million, a 20% reduction. The move came during a client webinar and was later detailed in an updated research note. Wood explicitly pointed to the explosive growth of stable coins as the primary reason for the adjustment. Stable coins, cryptocurrencies pegged one-to-one fiat currencies like the US dollar, have become the workhorse of crypto transactions. Circle, USDC, PayPal, PYUSD now facilitates trillions in annual transfer volume, powering DeFi across border payments and trading. Their combined market cap has surged to over 200 billion in 2025, up from 130 billion just 18 months prior. Wood had previously assumed Bitcoin would dominate not just store value narratives, but also medium of exchange cases. But stablecoins have filled that role from far more efficiently, offering price stability, speed, and regulatory clarity. The volatile assets like Bitcoin can't match for everyday use. Bitcoin is evolving into a monetary base layer, she said, while stablecoins handle the transactional overlay. Specialization reduces Bitcoin's total addressable market in payments, a key growth driver in ARK's original model. So there you go. Their base case is 500,000. Their bear case is 300,000. So positive it's going to the 300s. She is. Kathy Wood hasn't abandoned her Bitcoin thesis. She's just refining it. The 1.2 million target acknowledges real competition from stablecoins and near-term headwinds, offering a more grounded view of Bitcoin's path. So there you go. That story. Grayscale make U.S. IPO public. Crypto-focused asset manager Grayscale on Thursday publicly filed its paperwork for an initial public offering in the U.S. The government reopening on Thursday, after the longest shutdown in the country's history, the new listings market is expected to kick back into higher gear. The SEC has been working with scalable staffing during the shutdown. Grayscale will list on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol GRAY. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America Securities, Jefferies, and Cantor are the lead underwriters for the offering. Just a little bit about the Solana ETFs. Grayscale seeing a cumulative net inflow of $368.5 million to it. Bitcoin and Ether at ETFs. That's supposed to get Ether there. Suffered outflows, $700 million in cash each, or $7 million each, excuse me. Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. We don't have to cover those stories; they're less important. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for all the comments, reposts on Twitter. I'll be back tomorrow with you. So I got blessed, BitBoy out.